If you can see me, let me know. As soon as I know you're here, then I'll continue. I'll continue. Oh, you can. Nice, I can tell because I can see it through the stream preview. Nice, there we go. Fuck me, Sky is shit. Seriously, 3 routers in 2 weeks and the internet still drops out. Abysmal service. So bad. But I appreciate you still sticking around anyway. That's enough. What we were saying is that Returnal has keyboard cheats. Bibby has, well, no cheats. Bibby went through all the legitimate avenues, has Resident Evil, and we now have confirmation that Bibby can play the game in 30 minutes, although he's not going to. He's going to make you wait until this evening. So if you want to see some Resident Evil streams, then join Bibby as he streams the whole playthrough starting tonight and then continues tomorrow as well. Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, let's move ahead because Bibby doesn't have too long. He has meaty meetings.
Yes, I do.
Okay, the next news story of the day. Which we know Gary Clark knows because he was teasing Google Stadia fanboys on social media with it yesterday. But Chris Scullion at VGC says Stadia's head of product has left Google. John Justice's departure comes after Google closed its Stadia development teams. A senior member of the Google Stadia team has left the company just a couple of months after Google closed down all of its internal Stadia development teams. John Justice was the VP and head of product for Stadia. That's how you have to say his name, by the way. But the information reports that Justice is no longer with the company. We can confirm John is no longer with Google, and we wish him well on his next step. A Google spokesperson told 9 to 5 Google. Justice's departure follows Google's announcement in February that it would close all of its internal Stadia game development teams as part of a major course change, which will see the streaming platform focus on partnering with third-party game companies. In a statement at the time, the company said that this year it would be refocusing on offering its technology and platform tools to external partners. We believe this is the best path to building Stadia into a long-term sustainable business that helps grow the industry, Stadia GM Phil Harrison said. According to a Kotaku report, which was corroborated by sources who spoke to VGC anonymously, Google told its Montreal and LA Stadia development studios that they will be closed and their projects cancelled. Stadia's development boss Jade Raymond, the veteran producer behind Assassin's Creed EA's Motive Studio, left the company as part of the closures. So too did the team formerly known as Typhoon Studios, the developer behind last year's Journey to the Savage Planet. Raymond has since formed Haven Entertainment Studios, which we covered when it happened at the time, and a new independent studio, which is a new independent studio backed by PlayStation. Long story short, the guy in charge of product at Stadia has left Google. So, is this dead platform dead? No, sorry, that was a charged question. Is this failing? No. Is this platform that cannot succeed? No. Is this product that we invested in that is useless? No, fuck's it. Okay.
Stay with your chest, Graham.
Okay. Stadia is dead. Isn't that right, babe?
Yeah, well, to a degree, yes. I think they're just trying to, I don't want to say they're running on fumes, but they're just trying to move all of the resources away from themselves, and they'll just become a hosting platform. That's essentially the business model that they're looking at this moment in time. They ain't going to be producing anything themselves. They're just giving people a vessel to be able to play their games. And ultimately, I think that's probably the best move for them now. They didn't market it well. They didn't have the right people in the right places. And over the last 18 months, things are just becoming more and more unraveled. It's unfortunate. It's massively unfortunate. But I don't want to criticize how many people worked there and who did what there. But it just doesn't feel like there's people who, one, know video games inside out and what people want, and then having the people to try and get that to where it needs to be. And essentially it's just a load of businessmen trying to make money out of a market that they don't really understand that well. And it's unfortunate for the Stadia fanboys because they're Stadia through and through. That's their primary game console. And to be perfectly honest, everything that Stadia wanted to try and accomplish should be praised by everybody. Like everybody, this would have benefited everybody down the line sooner or later, because if it picked up steam, people probably would have probably would have bought out, went out and bought one for themselves. It just didn't. It just wasn't marketed correctly. It wasn't executed correctly, and unfortunately, it's fallen on its face.
I mean,
And
if Stadia picked up Steam, then that's a big acquisition. Whew. I mean, it'd work then.
who knows though? The Chromecast may end up becoming a vessel or a platform where you'll be able to play your Epic games, where you're able to go and play your Steam games. It may just become a Raspberry Pi. Who knows? But
yeah,
as it stands, who knows?
It's not a surprise for anyone in this chat, at least. We've all spoken about it many, many times before. There's nothing really different. The fact that Google's head of product has left doesn't change anything for us. It just puts another tick next to the expectations that we all have. As Tito says, let's be honest, Stadia is in its death throes. It's not long term. It isn't. If it doesn't have any unique content, it doesn't have any games being developed by the teams that are no longer there, so they can't develop it because they've all been let go. And the guy that was in charge of developing product for that, he has left as well. Then it has nothing unique. And don't get me wrong, I don't want it to fail. Well, the simplest reason is that controller on your screens now is actually a really good controller. It feels really nice. It felt like the build quality on it was quality. It's good. I mean, it doesn't look super unique. It's not like nothing you've ever seen before in a controller, but it was a good controller. It felt nice. So that on its own is kind of a plus for it. But beyond that, there's not anything that really excites me about it. And the same can be said for a lot of people. Some people are enjoying it. So those fanboys that I was talking about on social media, that you guys, I kind of feel sorry for you at multiple levels. some of them negative, but also because they're enjoying that service and that product, and they want to unite and build a community around it. But it's just one of those communities that and this probably shows that it's not for me. But I would at this point feel like if I invested my time in getting to know other Stadia players and building a community and joining forums and Reddits and whatever about this now, you're joining something that is destined to end. That's what it feels like for me. And what is the end game? There is no end game. The end game, as Stadia as it was, is not the same anymore. They are not making games. They want to provide a platform to play other games. Okay, well, I can do that on my Xbox and my Switch and my PC and my PlayStation. Why would I do it on something else that isn't as good in theory? Obviously, if you're playing Cyberpunk, it's wonderful because you play it on a super RTX 3090 equivalent server somewhere. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But beyond that, nah. So yeah, it's do you know what? We'll put pin in it very, very quickly because we all know the point. It's not going to last long, and it's not what we want it to be. It's a bit disappointing. What developer in their right mind is investing resources into releasing games on Stadia, given the news surrounding Stadia? Exactly. A hosting platform only works if developers release on it, but there's no incentive or reason to now. On live, anyone? Chromecast is a decent bit of kit, but I have no intention of using mine for Stadia. And trouble is, Google always has had a reputation of dabbling almost beta-like experiences. How can anyone have confidence in any new projects from Google? See, I think that's the thing, though. Like, when Google does stuff well, they do it well. But when Google goes in with that, what Bibby was talking about, that corporate business, man, that swagger of we are... move out of the way. Google coming through. I don't know if you know, I've got a Google name badge up. I know all about the technologies. Yeah. Okay, so tell me a little bit about gamification. How are you going to keep your users engaged, not just when they're in the game, but off the game? How are you going to keep them invested in your ecosystem? I don't know if you see, but my name badge is actually shiny. It says Google and it's shiny. Yeah, but tell me more about your trophy systems. Are you going to have trophies? What is that a thing? 12 months later, fuck yeah, we'll add trophies to Stadia. Fuck yeah. You might know technology, you might know the industry, you might know business, but you don't know games. And they showed that.
When you can play Xbox Game Pass on your phone, why would you need Stadia? Like, I understand what Stadia is trying to do, and you have the Chromecast and stuff like that. But when you can install it on your Android tablet or on your PC or on your mobile phone, it's available on iPhone now. Like, there is ways around it. Why would you need to have Stadia for a system that is nowhere near as evolved as your competitor? It's just one of them things. Like, it was a fantastic idea, and I think in 2 years' time, it may be the perfect product. Had it have had more people who know video games and are around, like I've just seen Jordan's comment there to say, to be fair, why I invest in Apple, Google stuff is terrible and dies quicker than my hairline. I mean, that's very, very funny. But even I'm a Google person. I could see this dying from a mile away, which is why obviously we invested it as a company. But myself, I would never have bought it because I knew it wasn't going to last that long. But yeah, you can usually see a dud from a mile away, and unfortunately, it was written on the wall before they even launched the product because one, we never heard that much about it until it released, and then people was reviewing it, and they was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Tito says Microsoft killed Stadia as soon as they announced XCloud. I think that's kind of true, but it was more a case of imagine you go back to, it was like April, not last year, year before, or whatever, kind of this time, a couple of years ago, Stadia first gets announced, 6 p.m. ish UK time. They've got a presentation on. It's almost like an Apple keynote speech or that kind of thing. Big stage show. Stadia have got their own E3 before E3. What is this madness? And everyone's like super excited about what it is. And they promised everything, and that's the worst thing. They promised so much that they couldn't deliver on, that they didn't fully understand, and then launched without all of it. If they didn't overpromise and then underdelivered, it'd be okay. If they overpromised and launched in a beta or something, as we said before, it'd probably be okay. But the fact that they went into a full launch, started charging full price, and then suddenly had to start peeling that back and giving bits away for free, and suddenly you can't invite your friends, and certain Chromecasts that were supposed to work and didn't work, and whatever. So they kind of fucked themselves up. So imagine them, as to give you a visual image here, Google is this impenetrable shield thing with a really weak heart inside, but pow, the future, and then they accidentally drop off all of their armor. So yeah, Xbox XCloud did hit the fatal shot into the heart, but that was because Google had already taken off all its armor. They'd already exposed its flaws, kind of thing. So Xbox went, oh, okay, well, thank you. Boom. And Xbox weren't even trying to take them down. They were just doing their own thing. And you rewind 2 years, well, 18 months-ish. At that point in time, nobody really cared. Not cared, because that's nobody really believed in xCloud then. This is like, oh, well, Xbox is dabbling in xCloud. Google have the servers. Google own the internet. I know Microsoft do as well, but Google, they are promising big things here. xCloud is just dabbling with some beta thing. But that shows you the difference. Xbox knew what they were doing and dabbling and slowly building it out. Stadia didn't, and puffed out their chest and just ballsed it up. So yeah, then they didn't do themselves good. Scrolling back up, want Halo and all the latest games. Chat's gone again. Join Game Pass and xCloud. Want to play the games that came out years ago in the cloud and nothing else? Join Stadia. 2018 before COVID, 2018 BC, aka before COVID. It seems so long ago. Yeah, it does. Soldier Boy will still sell Stadia. Will sell Stadia for Google. I bet. Yeah, of course he will. I mean, that is the Soldier Boy console, isn't it? Right? Huh? To be fair, Soldier Boys is more legit than Stadia. Business model was totally wrong. Games more expensive than other console releases, asking customers to take a punt on something that they never own and spend more money doing so. Yeah, there is no ability to play with your friends that don't have this console at launch. The games that you already own, you don't get for free on that console. You have to pay for again. They're 2 years old, and you have to pay more than full price for them on a new system. Stupid. The devices that you were told would work on them, like the old Chromecast and stuff, do not work. You had to get the specific Chromecast Ultra for it. The fact that when you did get that Chromecast Ultra and you plugged it into your TV and it turned into a heating element that could warm up the entire house, that wasn't great either. No trophies, no friend invites passes. You were supposed to have invite passes to bring your friends in so that it bumped up the user numbers and made more people to have the ability to buy it. They didn't come until after launch because they fucked that up as well. There was just so many blunders and blunders and blunders that even if they did fix that, a month, 2 months later, you've lost your opportunity. Then, if an Xbox is shit, they can recover it, but it takes a full generation. And it wasn't even like the Xbox was shit. The marketing for the Xbox One was shit, but it took them a full generation to claw it back. But they had 2 generations of good faith. Google Stadia had no generations of good faith. So if it takes a full generation for Xbox to bring it back, Stadia just give it up. You're dead on arrival. There's no point. Just go. Just get out of here.
I am gonna have to leave.
But the next
I have
article's
a
all
call.
entirely for you though, Bib. So God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't be able to carry this article on my own if I'm being honest, Graham.
No worries. I will jump into this screen, and yeah, I'll get rid of you. So enjoy the call in a bitski bibski.
Brilliant. Take it easy, guys. See you all later on.
So we've lost the bib. We've lost the bib. Okay, let me bring that back on. Steady. Let me finish off with the Stadia comments before I jump into one final article. Jordan says, if you think about it, Stadia lived and died off the play your game anywhere, but the app was only available on phone for Pixel phones and Google browsers. Xbox released XCloud on a lot of platforms and even now has a browser option and iOS before Stadia does. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Stadia's messaging was that it was everything everywhere. Everyone could get involved, and it wasn't. It was a case of the bits that I've said already. The fact that you can't play the games that you already have. Okay, well, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. Hamilton, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the stream. How are you doing? How are you doing? Happy Thursday. I had to think about what day it is then. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. So yeah, there was loads of people that had games that would have had to repurchase again. There was no way of transferring those games, no discounts, no nothing. Stadia didn't have any ability. Cameron wants the disco lights. Okay, let's get it go. The thing is though, my disco lights have slowed down now. They're not as fast as they used to be, unless they are again. Let me see. Yes, it's a subtle disco. La cucaracha. Like that with clicks. You've got to do the man click, the old man click. But yeah, thank you for using your channel points. That is value for money, my friend. Enjoy. So yeah, the fact that your old games you couldn't bring over, you couldn't play with friends that were on different consoles because crossplay wasn't necessarily fully available everywhere and everything at that point in time. You couldn't play it on iOS devices. At that point in time, you still could play XCloud on iOS devices. They were in the beta testing period, but not in the full launch period. So it looked like Xbox was going to be everywhere. Xbox had issues and overcame them already. Stadia just didn't overcome any of its early issues. So no, I completely agree. It will obviously have all Nintendo games ever and totally legit. Exactly. But Stadia at least now have a search bar, Kappa. Oh, well, there you go. That's it. Game-changing technology. I mean, the irony is that Stadia launched without a search bar. What is Google most famous for? What the fuck? How do you forget search functions when you are search, literally? But anyway, one more news story for the day. Let's jump into this one. This kind of relates to me, but kind of doesn't. But maybe it does. I don't know. We will see. Well, actually, it doesn't. But we'll tell you anyway. PUBG Mobile is returning to India under a new name. 8 months after the game was banned, PUBG Mobile is preparing to re-enter the Indian market. This is written by Josh Coulson at The Gamer, and it says PUBG Mobile is finally returning to India 8 months after it and more than 100 other mobile apps connected to China were banned. PUBG Mobile developer Krafton has announced the game is finally set to return to India. The title was part of new restrictions introduced by the Indian government, which eventually resulted in it and 117 other apps with links to China being banned. A particularly bitter pill to swallow for Krafton and fans of PUBG Mobile in India, as with 200 million downloads, it was the most popular game in the country. Krafton has had to jump through a number of hoops over the course of the past 8 months to reach this point. That includes a rebrand for the game when it relaunches in India. PUBG Mobile will be renamed Battlegrounds Mobile India, and the title sports the 3 colours of the Indian flag. I'm going to hit play on that and mute it. There you go. You can see. So even though Krafton is a South Korean studio, Chinese company Tencent handles the mobile version of PUBG. In order to appease the Indian government and allow for the game to return to the country, Battlegrounds Mobile India will have no connection to Tencent. It also has invested $100 million into India's mobile gaming ecosystem on the path to PUBG Mobile's re-release on the subcontinent. There will be a pre-registration for Battlegrounds Mobile India, but no release date has been announced. While Krafton is busy trying to break back into India, pretty much every other major developer and publisher is trying to appeal to the Chinese market. The country's government is notoriously hard to please when it comes to video games. While Fortnite has launched in China, it is a completely different version of the game to the rest of to the one the rest of the world plays. The Switch also continues to grow in popularity, but at launch, only one game, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, had been approved for sale by Chinese officials. PUBG Mobile had 50 million active users in India alone when it was banned last year. Even with the game banned, 10 million of those players managed to continue enjoying playing PUBG Mobile through various workarounds. Those people will no longer have to bend over backwards to play PUBG Mobile or Battlegrounds Mobile India, and Krafton will be hoping they are rejoined by the 40 million others who were previously left in the dark. See, this is one of... Oh, Stadia. No, it's not that one. This is one of the problems with the modern world, the world that we're in, is that these international, like, political fracases, we'll use that word. I'm trying to multitask, which is why you can probably tell this confusion on my face. There we go. PUBG Mobile returns to India. Nice. These political grievances, obviously a lot of it centered around China, shouldn't really impact the people that play in individual games right down at the bottom of the ladder. The fact that there may be international disputes between one country and another shouldn't impact me. Just sat here with my mobile phone in my hand. But that's exactly what happened to 50 million regular users and 200 million downloaded or installed users in India. So it's nice to see that they're getting access to that game again. But it shows you how fickle industry is. The fact that 50 million people, these are active users, got a game that they spend a lot of time and effort and money on, ripped out of their hands, and they had to go without it for 8 months before getting their hands back on it again. And it's the same game from the same company, although they've changed the way that it's being rebadged. It's so frustrating that these international grievances are getting in the way of gaming, and the only thing that is changing is the way that the packaging around it is presented, because that's the same game made by the same people for the same end users on the same devices, just with a different name, and it being provided by a different company, but not really a different company, because that wouldn't really work. Yes, so yeah, there you go. If you are in India, which I'm assuming a lot of you are, then you can play PUBG Mobile soon. Battlegrounds Mobile India will be coming soon. No date announced, just the fact that you can sign up for it shortly. Must be hard on the staff, literally living a meme for a job. I'm assuming that's regarding Stadia rather than PUBG Mobile, because fuck's sake. India is the biggest market for PUBG Mobile. It is huge. I mean, he mentioned that within the article there. 200 million downloads, most popular game in the country at that point in time when it was pulled. I mean, China has had a lot of influence over international markets anyway. I'm not equipped to unpack that, so I won't go too in depth in this. I'm not equipped to unpack that full story, but we've seen China having impacts on American markets, sports markets around the world, mobile gaming markets in India, and vice versa. So yeah, it's a bit shit. It's a bit shit. Gary says, Google not having a search bar on Stadia is like McDonald's forgetting the event of the Big Mac. Exactly. That is your Big Mac. Politics should be nowhere near video games, but unfortunately, that's the sad world we live in now. Yeah, exactly. Politics should be nowhere near Mesut Ozil and Arsenal, but that's the world that we live in now, isn't it? So yeah, it's bullshit. That's what it is. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. But anyway, that is the end of the show. Thank you everyone for joining us for a brief-ish scoop. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Nice. To give you a recap of the news if you were late in, we started things off with the news that Microsoft confirms that it's never made any money on the sale of an Xbox console. It does make shitloads of money, but just not on the sales of the hardware. Returnal has some cheats, so if you're playing the game and you want to cheat, you want to cheat in yourself, but if you want to cheat, just plug in a keyboard, fill your boots. Stadia's head of products has left Google, which means Stadia is dead. Breaking news, Stadia is dead. It's not breaking. It's not being confirmed, but it's also not breaking either. And PUBG Mobile is returning to India under the new name Battlegrounds Mobile India. There you go. Is that a sign of things to come? Is the next PUBG going to be called PUBG because it's Player Unknown's Battleground, named after Player Unknown himself? But Player Unknown doesn't work on PUBG anymore. So is the next game just going to be Battlegrounds? Battlegrounds 2? Like when we got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and then it just became Modern Warfare 2, and they dropped the Call of Duty. Are they going to drop Player Unknowns? I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, we are going to go, and I say we, I mean me, because Bibby has already left, as Jordan says. Where's Bibby gone? Did you not see the bit where Bibby went, I'm going to have to go? Did you put a call? So Bibby's left for a call, so I'm just finishing things off. But I am going to jump back on, though. I will be playing some State of Decay. I did arrange yesterday to jump in with Show and Chucky again. I don't know if those guys are around. Yeah. If you are around, I know you want to jump in yesterday, Jordan. If you are around at some point, you could jump in Bibby's spot. Bibby's asked me to save him a spot. But yeah, feel free to jump in. Anyway, we are going to play some State of Decay. I am playing on PC, so if you have State of Decay on Xbox or PC and you fancy some games with friends, then fill in your boots. Nice. Is this Tugasar, the greatest show alive? Yes. Do you need to ask? Welcome in, Fish Sticks. We are just finishing the greatest show alive. Anyway, as mentioned, we will be back in a little bit with State of Decay. I'm going to go off. I'm going to end the stream. I'm not going to raid anyone else because we'll be jumping back on in about 20 minutes to 30 minutes with some State of Decay for a couple of hours. And then tonight, Bibby will be streaming Resident Evil Village. We have a copy of it. It is out. The embargo lifts in 4 minutes, but we're obviously playing State of Decay, so he will start playing that from later on this afternoon. So if you want to see some Resident Evil Village content, come back for that. And then after all of that, tomorrow at 10 a.m.-ish, we'll be back with the next episode of The Scoop. If you do want to get involved with The Scoop, you can share your stories with us. Tito has dropped in the links and the Discord in the chat. So if you want to share any news with us, if you want us to discuss any news, then feel free to share it with us in the Discord. All we need is a link to the article, your name, your thoughts and impressions, and we can give you our thoughts and impressions tomorrow at 10 a.m.-ish. Nice. That's it. Sweet. Have yourselves a lovely day. Hopefully you want to come back and see me absolutely get mutilated in State of Decay, but you don't have to. It's up to you. It's a great game, though. It is genuinely a great game. I was supposed to be playing PUBG today. Decided to play State of Decay because I enjoyed yesterday's gallivanting so much. So yeah, see you in a bit. Nice. Have yourselves a fantastic day. Until then, stay frosty.